Just when you think you figured the Raptors out, they get almost a win over the Boston Celtics, and they get a pretty triumphant win over the New York Knicks, on Sunday night. I'm Noor Zainab, next to Jelani Goodridge-Reid and Justin Pooni, and today we will look personally at our untouchable Raptors right before the trade deadline and their next 7 games on the road when they make a return in Toronto in 17 days, the day before February 9th, which is the trade deadline. So guys, we played against the Boston Celtics on Saturday. It was a pretty afternoon. No, it was an evening game, right? 6 o'clock or something?
Yeah. It was a bit early for the Saturday game,
Yeah, it was pretty early for Saturday game. Actually, no, sometimes they play like at 3 p.m. on Saturday sometimes. No, that's Sundays.
Sundays, yeah.
That's Sundays, yeah. No, it's all good. It was a pretty close game, actually. Somehow the Raptors always get Boston's number. Not really in winning. Just making it a pretty close fourth quarter towards the end. There was no Tatum. Marcus Smart did get hurt in the middle of the game, but Jaylen Brown went off for the Celtics. And on top of that, Grant Williams had 25 points, which is not really Grant Williams-like at all. You can always kind of role player to show up against the Raptors, and that's exactly what happened against the Boston Celtics. But Pascal had pretty much a triple-double that night with 29 points. Gary Trent was going off. No Fred VanVleet, but Pascal missed he had a crucial turnover in that last 10 seconds of the game, which was just embarrassing kind of to watch. But then on the day after against the Knicks, we finally get a pretty solid win where we needed it. We needed to have a landslide victory for once where you're just kind of comfortable in the fourth quarter. No, the fourth quarter was good. The third quarter kind of sucked, but the fourth quarter was good. I felt kind of comfortable in that way. But we do have the trade deadline coming up, and the best part is right now the 2 best players on this team who are playing super well, Gary Trent Jr. and Fred VanVleet, 2 guys that currently highlight the trade deadline. Gary Trent actually leads the team in steals this month. Who would have thought Gary Trent is playing Defensive Player of the Year? Does that change your guys' mind a little bit? Like,
absolutely not.
So who for you right now, this current moment, we're about 20 days, no, less than 20 days outside of the trade deadline, right? So who would you say for you on this roster is untouchable for Masai and Bobby to move?
Scotty Barnes. That's it. Because I've seen a lot of people, they want to talk about OG Anunoby because he's been playing great. We've been talking about it all season long, how he's been, coming up huge for us on the defensive side of the ball and stuff like that. But even him, if you're looking at guys like OG, like Pascal even, if you're getting a haul for those guys, you have to at least consider it, right? At least consider it, because I know Pascal's an all-star too. Like, let's touch on him. I know he's an all-star. I know he's been balling for us, of course. He's been, consistent this season when he's on the floor and healthy. But again, I don't think this is a team that's doing anything in the East. So I truly believe if there's a team out there, which there are, that would love the services of Pascal Siakam, and they offer you multiple picks or players that could help your depth, that could help, you guys moving forward, for these years to come with more youth, which the Raptors need. I think you have to at least look at that, right? I'm not saying you pull the trigger on that, but at least consider that, right? So I truly believe they want Barnes to be the dude moving forward. But as for the cornerstones, I don't see any of them being untouchable right now.
Yeah, I totally am in agreement with you, Jelani. I think other than Scotty Barnes, everybody else, you have to pick up the phone and listen to them. There's going to be desperate teams that are wanting to, level up for a playoff run, for a championship run. And there's pieces on the Raptors team that in the right positions could be very good pieces for a championship contender team. Pascal Siakam, like I said before, imagine if a team like Golden State or whatever, or not even Golden State, but any
Phoenix,
team,
Phoenix, doesn't matter.
If a team is offering you a haul and a thing that can really set you up for the future, because that's what really matters for the Toronto Raptors, the future. You're not going to do anything this year, probably not next year, right? So the next couple years after that, what can you do? How is the Eastern Conference landscape going to change, right? Because we're looking at it from the next 3 to 4 years, Boston's still going to be there, Milwaukee's still going to be there, and I'm sure the other teams will level up, right? But for the Toronto Raptors, how do you replenish that system with guys? We talked about last week when we did that whole lovely rant episode where guys that have high ceilings, right? High ceilings where they might have a low floor, but they have a ceiling where you could see something special. Right now with the Toronto Raptors, there's nothing special. No. And we talk about in football all the time, Jelani. If you want to win a championship, if you want to be successful, you got to have guys that have special talents. And right now, Scotty Barnes has that potential, but is his ceiling the highest? I agree. Yeah. He should be the only guy. The potential's there to be an all-star, right? But Raptors know they need to go to the draft and redevelop and find a superstar if they really want to reach that level that they were a few years ago.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. I do. It's 100%. I think Scotty for me is going to be at the top of my list. Like, I think that's someone that you've drafted him. He's rookie of the year. He's the youngest guy on the team, and he has so much potential for the next couple of years that this is just someone that you build your team around.
Yeah.
So I'm in agreement with that. But I will say, I think for me, after that will be Siakam. Like, Siakam, someone, for me, his age definitely plays a factor, and it depends on what your timeline will look like the next couple of years. But I think if you want to win in the next 3-4 years, you've got to keep Siakam on this team. He's gonna be. He might not be the first guy, but he should be your second, third guy, right? We saw that in the championship year too, where he's a great player. He's not the greatest player on the team, but he's a great player. So you want to make a run, you want to keep Siakam on that team. But I think after that, actually, for me, if you want to build a team around young guys, OG is one of the greatest answers on that squad. Is he not, though? Because he's younger.
I get it,
he
but
fits the timeline.
I think it's
The thing with OG though, if you move off OG and you're building towards, he could get you the most
Yeah, he could
value
help your
for the
He
future.
could.
That's
But
why-
the same
that's why I
thing,
said
though.
it.
Like, for me, it's like, what are you getting back for him, though?
well,
That's what it
you're
comes
seeing
down to,
what
right?
you even told us the reports. They're willing to give us those Mitchell type of hauls for,
Yeah, exactly.
for
But
it.
I think
So
that's
I think the
what-
Raptors need to look at that. I really do.
I think that's what the Raptors would look for. That's what they're demanding. I'm just not sure you would get that on the market.
You
from
never know.
the
You never
OG.
know because
you never
there's
know. Yeah, you
always
never
a
know.
team out there that
Yeah.
feels like they're a piece away. OG could help contenders right now, so they
Yeah.
might be like, you know what, Raptors, here, take all this.
We're in win now mode.
Any
Take
team
everything
that
we got.
needs some defensive factor is going to
Yeah.
look at OG right away. But that's also why I'm going to keep OG because I'm like, that's a defensive
Yeah,
young player, right? Why would you not? Like, again, my thing is, if you're going to bring someone
Mm-hmm.
in younger to replicate what OG is doing right now, why not just fucking keep OG?
The one thing I will say this about OG is, how much better can he get? Is this
It's not
the
about his-
best level that
it's
OG
not about
Anunoby
his
is going to
offense,
be?
though, to
No,
me.
I'm
It's about his
I'm talking
defense,
about all
right?
encompassing. Is this the best level that OG Anunoby is going to be?
No, because
Because the
we
defense,
saw.
this is the best we've seen
Yeah.
him defense.
And is this-
too,
and
right?
is
But I
this
just
his
think
peak,
at this
or can he-
point-
yeah.
At this point, we're not winning, right? We're not winning,
No,
and
but-
of course you want to keep him. I want to keep him, right? But I'm looking at the future, which we've been mentioning, right? And I just think if the Raptors still want to be competitive somehow, some way, but with youth moving forward, because that's where they need to go, right? You guys might not want to admit that out there, but that's where the Raptors need to go. I do think OG needs to be a name where you're like, yes, we want to keep him, but we understand that there might have to be a deal here. The Pascal point, I do want to keep him as well. Like, I'd rather keep him more than OG,
Yeah.
just because what he can provide for, like, he could keep
Exactly,
us
yeah.
afloat.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But same way, right? There's contenders out there that might want to pull the trigger. We've seen the Suns being mentioned and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So you never know. You never know.
Yeah, to me, I think it depends on what you're going to get back with both
Yeah.
those players. Because if you're going to go younger to somehow one day make a player like Siakam and OG, it makes no sense to go through that trouble. I'm just like, if you get able to keep them, depending on what they're going to be giving you, keep them. But another guy I think should be on this team no matter what, actually next to Scotty, Precious Achiuwa. Him coming back in the lineup, you guys,
Yeah,
has
I
been a
say keep it.
defensive massive factor. Like, the defense has not been looking, like, even to this day, they're still kind of struggling. Like, they turn it out, turn it off. But when Precious came back in, that defense turned it up a notch. Him at the perimeter, him just driving through, it's such actually a threat to have him around.
The energy.
And-
Yeah,
yeah,
that-
absolutely. And then he was also on Jaylen Brown in the fourth quarter against the Celtics. You know how much he limited Jaylen Brown in 4 consecutive plays? That's something, and he's also young. He's a young guy.
Well, people forget he was a first round pick just a couple of years ago,
Yeah.
right?
Exactly. He's
So-
a younger guy. So I think, I don't know, like and also, fuck, I'm here
You
like,
gotta keep it
I'm
all
keep everybody. I'm just keep everybody.
Oh,
But I'm also,
that's
no,
the
I know.
fandom's coming
No,
out here.
it's
That's the
not,
fandom.
okay.
I would
Stop.
keep Precious as well because he's young. That's the
Yeah,
one
he's
thing.
young.
But
He's so young.
but
Yeah.
I'm not keeping everybody. I'm not keeping everybody. No.
I will say Gary Trent's playing really good.
Gary's
But that's-
just raising the stock.
I
right now.
know, but he's
He
just
understands the moment. He understands that, you know what, if I'm balling right now,
I
I'm
know.
gonna be in LA soon. I'm gonna be with
Yeah.
LeBron
Okay,
and Clutch.
chill
Clutch.
out. Like,
You
he's
know he's going to
actually
LA.
leading, not just offensively, he's leading the team right now this month in steals. Like, and that means he's playing that defense, he's putting those shots up offensively too. He's doing everything on the court. He did have a pretty, I think it was against the Knicks where he turned the ball over towards the end or something, but he will make those defensive liabilities every now and then. But beyond that, I'm like, obviously he's playing for the contract. I get it, but I'm like, if he can ask for like 20 million,
Oh, he's getting 25 plus.
but I'm saying if he can settle for that, like
He's not settling in
come
Toronto.
on.
In Toronto, he's not settling for
Okay,
that.
He wants 25.
If it was LA or like someone in the States, he might take a little bit of a cut to win a chip, but not in Toronto.
No, I think it's hard to settle for a team right now like this too, because you're just like, what's going to happen with this team? You know, why would I settle for something that's nothing going to happen? But moving on to our second topic, we're going to cover this up super quickly. They do have their 7 games against the Kings, Warriors, Blazers, Suns, Jazz, Rockets, and Grizzlies. It's going to be
tough.
ugly. It's going to be a tough one. They make a return the night before the trade deadline, so we don't know if we're going to see the same Raptors in their uniform.
No,
like it's
they're
going to be a tough one. We might have just seen Fred or Gary play their last game in Toronto last night. It's going to be crazy,
wild.
right? So, okay, guys, Kings, taking this? Yes or no? We're going to come back to this, by the way,
Kings?
on February 9th
Kings?
and see how
That's a winnable one, but no.
No,
No?
Because
Yes.
look at their offense, right? Like they're
No, I
scoring.
know.
We're gonna have to match.
light the
scoring.
beam, light the beam.
Light the beam. Their
Darren
scoring
Fox,
is
they're
second to
going
none.
crazy.
Their defense is not good though. They're 25th in
Yeah,
defense.
exactly.
But can we match the scoring? I don't
It's
see
their
it.
transition speed too, and it's like, because we're pretty good in transition too, right? So if we could just bring up that level of play against Kings, I think.
And they play well at home.
De'Aaron Fox and Sabonis, that combo, they've been on fire this
Yes.
year. I just
I
don't
know.
see anybody stopping them.
Yeah.
The Raptors are also healthy though, hopefully with OG back. So I'm actually going to go with the Kings. I'm going to be a little bit of a homer. Warriors.
No, no.
It's gonna be a close one.
it
I
also
think it'll be a
depends who's
close
out there
one.
on the court
Yeah.
for
Yeah,
Golden State.
exactly.
But let's say that they do have their guys out there. No.
I'm going to assume.
The Warriors are dominant at home too.
Because they win
No,
out,
they're good at
and we
home.
do not.
No,
But-
we win on
the
the road.
Raptors.
But their
are-
last game, I think they had like 4 guys out,
so
including
that's the
Clay
question.
and Curry.
That's
So
the
it's just like who's going to be on
So
the
I'm
court, right?
assuming that their guys will be out there.
And lately, they're the best. The really good teams have been resting their best players against us. So
Yeah,
we
yeah,
could
that's true.
see
That's
Clay
true.
or Curry sitting. So I don't know.
Not
I'm
at
gonna
home, though,
say
maybe on the road,
no.
but
What?
I'd say the teams that mostly the rest of the players on the road, but at home they tend
But
not
it depends their matchup though and their opponent. So if they think they can win without the Raptors,
So you got the Raptors.
I know I got Warriors for that one.
yeah,
Because I
yeah,
think-
go.
to. That was a whole lot of
Go.
nothing.
yeah, it was. I'm explaining my point to
Okay,
you.
okay.
Blazers
Blazers.
Winnable.
win.
Blazers are
I'll
struggling
I'll
right
say
now.
Raptors win that one.
Win. Okay.
Yeah, the Blazers.
Nah, you know me, I'm a Dame guy. So
I'm a dim guy too, but I just
You're just a
they're not
hater,
playing
is what
well.
you
I'm
are.
not a hater.
Okay. Blazers.
That's a
Blazers.
winnable game.
Suns.
Suns are
I'm gonna say Raptors.
Yeah, I think the Raptors will get the Suns. Suns are
Suns.
playing kind of.
Oh shit.
Suns.
Okay.
I think the Suns pull it through. Sometimes when you expect them to win games, they don't. Sometimes
Yeah, no,
you
I
expect them to
know.
lose, they win. They've been one of the weird contenders.
Yeah, for sure.
But I think the Suns get it done here.
They've been up and down, but I'm gonna trust the Raptors in this spot. How about the Jazz?
You can beat the Jazz.
think
You
the
should beat the
Raptors win
Jazz.
that game.
You should beat the Jazz.
They better
We'll
beat
see
the
what Markkanen does.
I was gonna say Marcus gonna be
Laurie
a factor.
Bird, but-
Clarkson gonna be a factor,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
Well,
I'm
if there's
gonna go with
if
the Jazz.
Jordan Clarkson's still in Utah, then
Yeah, because he could be moved as well.
That's
right?
true. Up at that, it's gonna be what, like end of January by then. So
Him,
could
Conley,
be fairly
those are
fast.
names to watch.
trades are heating up.
That's
But
Trades
I
are
think the
heating up.
Raptors win.
Okay, Rockets easy Raptors win, right?
Oh, they should. I mean,
Honestly,
they should.
The Rockets can score points.
They can.
Yeah, but they can't
They
defend.
suck at
They
defense.
can't
They're horrible at
defend.
But I think the Raptors win this
Okay,
game.
Raptors,
The
all
Houston's
right.
28th in defense.
Last but not least, the most annoying team in the NBA, the Grizzlies.
No, it's
L.
not even a
Sorry.
contest.
Yeah,
It's
sorry.
not even
They-
a
John,
contest.
John Moran, the boys.
I would
we
love
saw
to
what
see the
happened
Raptors
at
beat
the
them.
Trent-
I would love to
Jeez.
see Raptors put a poster on Dylan Brooks. So anybody, even you don't have to even win. Just do something about Dylan Brooks, please. So that was a 7-game stretch after this road trip coming up right now. Like we said, they'll make their way back home right before the trade deadline on February 9th, and we'll see who's going to be a Raptor, who got their wins right, and watch out for the next show on Wednesday. Take care.